How's it going, Diablo players? So I compiled an entire list of all Sorcerer's attack speed breakpoints with mainnet and offhand and also to earn for all skills for you. So if you already know what attack speed breakpoints are and how you use them, good for you. Just check the link in the description down below, use the breakpoints and be happy. If you don't know yet how these breakpoints work, or you don't know the concept, or you want to know what this means for your build and everything, I highly recommend watch the sections of this video. So first of all, I put a lot of work into this. Like, this literally has been like thousands of recording. I don't even know how many. Like, if you look at the this folder here, this is like literally all like video files with like, breakpoint recordings, and that's not even all. So really this took like probably like 20 or 30 hours total. So it's kind of crazy. How do you use this table? So if you reduce this, and let's just, look at one single spell for now, which is easier. So let's look at Ball Lightning. So you have main hand and offhand, or you have two-handed weapon. So the attacks, as you can see, are different. The two-handed weapon is slower, so it's just filtered to 1. So what does this basically mean? Well, the required attack speed is in this column. So if you want to attack at 15 frames per attack, you have to reach at least 84.6. If you want to reach the next breakpoint, you have to reach 98.1% attack speed. If you want to reach the next one, you have to reach 113.6. Alright guys, so what are attack speed frames? So Diablo 4 internally is running on an engine which is based on 60 frames per second. This has nothing to do with your monitor's refresh rate or with your GPU's refresh rate. If you tune your GPU to pump out 200 frames per second, it's not going to make you attack any faster. That's pretty logical, right? But the game internally just calculates everything with a rate of 60 frames. So there can only be 60 actions per second or 1 action per frame. So that being said, your attack has a certain length in frames. And if you look at the attack speed table, for example, here for Ball Lightning, you can see at 73.5 attack speed, you're going to have a 16 frames attack. So as you can see here, I have 75% attack speed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to attack at 75% attack speed, and then we're going to count how many frames it actually takes to start the next attack. Alright, so now we basically record that footage and we go to like VLC and count the frames between the attacks, and I'm going to show you how that works. Alright, so now we pull the recording. So we have the recording here. This is the video. As you can see, I can skip through it. It's pretty much the same I just recorded. And I have a tool here which is called Key Counter, and basically just helps me counting the keystrokes because I keep forgetting what stroke I did. And it's actually pretty easy to calculate the frames with that. So I link that in the description down below if you want to use it yourself. Basically, you're just going to add a key. I know it's horribly small because it doesn't really work with 4K resolution, but it's all right. And you just press start monitoring. And you can see if I hit my E key now, as you can see, it goes up like the counter. And in VLC, the hotkey E basically skips the frame. So as you can see, I'm now skipping frames. And on the left side, it's going to count how many frames I actually skipped. So let's move forward to the Ball Lightning cast here. So now what we're going to do is we use a distinct point in the animation. In this case, for Ball Lightning, we can use the point where the Ball Lightning actually comes out. So this is this frame, right? So now we reset the count, and we're going to count the number of frames until the next Ball Lightning comes out, which is now. As you can see, it's 16 frames. These animations are not always perfect. Sometimes you're going to have one more or one less frame, depending on how the animation actually goes. So you want to repeat this progress a couple of times to make sure you hit the right frame. So as you can see, next Ball Lightning, it's actually now 33, not 32. So that's what I mean. They are not always frame perfect. So you want to, get a little bit of data in here. As you can see, this one came out earlier. So we went to 48. And now we're at 63. And you just go on and on and on. So in the end, you're at like an 80. So now if you pull your calculator and you remember we had 80 frames, right? And you divide 80 by the number of frames we expect here, which is 16, you're going to end up with 5. So I actually shot 6 Ball Lightnings, right? You can count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we started counting after the first one. So we basically verified that 16 frames breakpoint. So why is this important? So we're back in the game, and if you remember, we had 75% attack speed, and we are attacking at 16 frames per second. If you look at the attack speed frame table, the next frame will be at 84.6. So let's just, get a little bit less than that in attack speed. So I'm adding some attack speed now, so I'm at 82.5. Let's add another 1.3 here. So we're at 83.7. So we're below the 84.6 breakpoint. That means, well, yeah, we actually just invested like another 9% attack speed or so. But the problem here is with the frame, until we hit the next frame, we're actually not gonna earn anything. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So we're gonna do the exact same thing again. Now we're gonna record it again, and then we're gonna count the frames again. Okay. All right, so I'm back with the recording. As you can see, if I switch to the recording here, this is my 83.7 attack speed. And I'm just going to skip forward where I start casting. And we're going to do the whole thing again, right? So let's see. We're going to skip forward until he first or lightning. Now we're going to reset our counter here. And we're going to keep counting. So there's the first at 15 frames. Again, this is not always frame perfect. So as you can see, 31 now. 47. 63. And there's our 79. So that's why I'm saying it's not always frame perfect. But, as you remember, we had 80 divided by 60, which was 5. Now we actually have 79 divided by 16, which is 4.93. So this is definitely not 15, right? That's why I'm saying these animations are not always frame perfect. And you want to keep verifying this. But this actually means that you didn't really gain any faster attack, even though this is one frame off. I could record it again now and we would end up at 80. So now let's see what happens if we actually go above this 48.6 attack speed breakpoint. So we're back in the game, so let's add some extra attack speed here. So we just wanna add one more node of 1.3 attack speed. That's why a couple of percentage points in attack speed might actually matter a lot. So now we are actually at 85. So we are slightly above the 48.6 attack speed breakpoint. So once more, we do the recording and then we count how fast we actually attacked. So now you can see we have the 85% attack speed. And again, I'm just going to skip forward until we start casting, and then we're going to check how many frames we actually do. So this is the first cast, and let's start counting. So as you can see, now we are at 15, not at 16. So what does this mean is this is actually a pretty significant difference here. So as you can see right now, I'm done with my castings. My total number of frames is 75. Again, this is 6 ball lightnings again, right? So we do 75 divided by 5, and we end up at 15 frames. So the entire attack speed between 73.5 and 48.6 is actually gonna do nothing. Just you have to get above the 84.6% breakpoint, so you can actually get an increase in attack speed. So your attack speed overall is not wasted, but you have to always meet the certain breakpoint. And that's why attack speed breakpoints are very important in late game builds. And that's why I made this table where you actually have the attack speed frames of all spells with main hand and offhand, and also with two hand. And you can use that for your builds. Make sure to verify those breakpoints. They might not all be 100% accurate in the lower ranges. In the higher ranges, I actually re-verified these. And this is an important thing for you to understand. So what are attack speed caps? You might have already heard about attack speed caps. So we have 2 attack speed caps, each capping out at 100%. So the absolute maximum attack speed we can reach is 200%. So let's just call them cap 1 and cap 2. So we have cap 1, which is the regular attack speed. It's also displayed in your character sheet, and it also caps out at 100%. So here's what actually contributes into cap 1. This is aspect of the Moonrise, aspect of the Ancient Flame, Elixir of Advantage or Advantage 2, any attack speed on your gear, paragon nodes, or unique items. So whenever it says just attack speed, and artillery shrines seem to give you 100% attack speed. And then we have the second cap. I call it cap 2 or other attack speed. This is basically everything where it doesn't say attack speed, but something different. So there's directly 2 exceptions to this rule. We have accelerating aspect, which just says increases our attack speed by 25%. And we have prime unstable currents, giving us also 25%. Even though these say attack speed, these count to the cap 2 other attack speed. And these will also actually increase the attack speed in your character sheet by 25%. So if you look at your character sheet and you have 100% attack speed and you have accelerating aspect active and pop unstable currents, it's actually gonna jump to 150%. And then what's else gonna into that is rapid aspect and also any kind of basic skill attack speed on gear, which comes into play in Season 5, since we have the shard of whatever it's called, like Veracial or something like that, which gives you basic skill attack speed. Then we have Gloves of the Illuminator for fireball attack speed, and then we have the Pyromancy skill attack speed tempering. So that basically makes it pretty easy to reach 200% attack speed with fire spells and basic spells. Lightning spells and frost spells, you're likely not going to reach 200% attack speed, and it also doesn't make many sense. So you basically combine these 2 attack speeds together, right? If you get 100% from cap 1 and another 100% from cap 2, you're going to end up at 200%, which, for example, comes into play if you want to play basic skills. So if we filter this table here by basic skills now, and you will see the speed of basic skills actually can reach 12 frames per attack. So this is like 5 attacks per second. And you can reach them with Wand and Focus, 2 and here. So you can reach these at roughly 200% attack speed. As you can see, it's a little bit different. One need 190 or something like that. And with basic skills, this is actually pretty easy to reach. Same goes for fire skills. So if you really want to stress Fireball and you want to get a lot of attack speed, you can get Fireball into the same range with 12 frames per attack at 188. Does it make sense to push this high attack speed on Fireball? Probably not. You're going to lose out more damage than you actually gain by this little bit of extra attack speed, but certainly it's possible. Then if you go to Frost or Lightning, you really don't have an option to get that much attack speed, so you're rather going to focus on more raw damage. Usually if you play a Lightning build, for example, with unstable currents and maybe accelerating aspect, you're going to max out somewhere around 150 if you really want. But for example, if you see Ball Lightning, you would need 162.5 to reach the highest frame count. So that doesn't really make any sense. You would have to play in like an accelerating aspect on your amulet, which is going to cost you like 45% damage from an aspect. Just going to add you like an extra 10% damage for the attack speed. So it really doesn't make sense to push this crazy high.